You're a vegan?
Right.
You don't eat any animal products at all?
Since 2006. So it's a long time, so over 7 years now. So when you realize that it's a mindset, it's because a lot of people, they want to try it and then they go back because they're doing it for the wrong reasons. It should never be about, okay, I want to lose weight, I want to get in shape. It has to come from a higher ideal. And it's all about, once you change your perspective, everything changes. And you have to just follow your heart.
Interesting. Well, that's another little rabbit hole we could go down at another time. We've had enough of the vegan or not vegan debates on our channel. Now, back to the lose your mind, come to your senses. And I was telling you, one of the things that we try to help people understand at our retreats is basically that the mind was originally created to help the body survive. Because we used to live in a time where there was just more danger around us, whether we were hunting and gathering or avoiding dangers or predators or in a war. But now, living in places, these developed countries such as the United States or United Kingdom, where everything's handed to us on a silver platter, that we can basically eat foods. It's amazing. Like being in London, you can probably eat foods from Africa, Asia, South America, all in one plate from one grocery store.
All over the world.
That's ridiculous.
Right.
And I think and this from borrowing this from, I think it was a movie called Surfwise, Dr. Paskowitz. His idea was basically man's biggest problem used to being not having enough food, and now man's biggest problem is having too much food.
Yes.
So the script has been flipped on us, and the question now is how, since we people are no longer using their minds as much as getting used by them, and now how can we use our minds? And both of us are basically saying to practice losing your mind, coming to your senses.
Yes.
And what are some ways that you would practice that?
What I do is, first and foremost, we have to put ourselves in the right environment. I always tell people, go to the place you find your greatest power. To do that, you have to love yourself 100%. More so, you have to place yourself in the right environment, because you can't lose your mind when you're in an environment which is noisy. There's sirens going off, people are talking. It's going to be very difficult. So you have to, first of all, go into an environment which you can hear the birds singing. That's going to be an ideal, a fantastic location just to get into that meditative state. Also, you start losing your mind once you start letting go of what other people think of you. That's the biggest way, because a lot of us, we're carrying around a lot of baggage. A lot of us, we're afraid of being judged by other people. And a lot of people who really start flying high, it's because they're not afraid of what other people think. They've lost judging themselves. That's the biggest thing, because everyone will judge us. You know, you're going to judge other people, I'm going to judge other people. The hardest thing is to stop judging yourself. Once you can get past that, then you're good to go.
Well, I always have a problem with judging my judgments.
Right. We have to stop.
And then I judge those judgments that I judge myself. That's the tricky one.
Right. We have to.
No, but I like that. I think that's huge. Like, people that live their life according to what other people think, and even what their own people, what they think about themselves, I think is a huge problem. And it's one to overcome.
Right.
And one way that we were discussing, because of the YouTube, and you were saying that one way you've kept going is to kind of stop caring about the trolls, because there's someone that will always have something negative to say about, no matter how great you made a video.
Oh yes.
And what would be a tool to that, or how do you do that? How do you care less about what people think for you?
You have to put things in perspective and realize that it's just a video. And there's so many things happening around the world. Certain times people are going through all kinds of things. That's what helps me say it's not that serious. A lot of us, we're taking ourselves way too serious. And what you have to do is to realize that a lot of times when people take out their anger on you, it's actually not at you, it's their own problem. And what angers you controls you. A lot of the times, people are there to test us, because the universe gives everyone a job. So they're actually doing their job. So we have to see them as almost as just testing us to see if we are who we say we are, because we're supposed to be this super calm person who is under control. So this person who is trying to throw us off the tracks is actually there to help us remind us who we are.
I like that. Yeah. So you change your perspective about the people that might be. You couldn't judge that as like, oh, these people are. I'm so bothered by them. Or
you can't take it personally. Take nothing personal, and realize that. Just focus on those people that are there to support you, those that love you, because those are the people that matter at the end of the day.
And I that's inspirational for me to hear, because I would like to pass that inspiration on to anyone that's watching. I think a great way to care less about what people think is by making YouTube videos.
Oh, yes.
And really putting yourself out in the public eye, because you're going to receive a lot of judgments, and you have one of two things to do with that. You can take it personally, or you can't. And I was telling him that it's always been pretty simple for me to realize that I'm much more than my car, much more than my clothes, much more than my house. But what I'm trying to wrap my mind around is how I'm much more than my personality. I'm much more than my body. I'm much more than this video. And that, the YouTube has helped me with that. And same thing for you, it sounds like.
Definitely. YouTube has opened up a window of opportunity. It frees you, because once you make one video, you let go of the fear. You can make another one, then another one, but as well, you're just meeting other people, and through it all, you just help each other grow stronger. You see other people doing what you're doing, and it's just an indicator that, okay, you don't have to be so tight about it, just relax. Other people are there to support you.
Yeah, that's crazy. It reminds me of that quote that the number one fear for people around the world is not dying, but it's speaking publicly.
Oh, yes.
And number two would be dying.
Yeah.
Meaning that like someone that's giving the speech at a funeral.
Right.
It's scarier for most people to be that person in the casket. And that's kind of a grim joke, but in reality, I think it's all of a sudden I'm getting inspired to want to tell people that, so yeah, this is us encouraging you to make your own video, and you can even toy with it. Just sit there, and even though, regardless of your own judgments and your judgments of your judgments, put it out online and see what happens. It can just be you sitting there in this.
We're making a video just through the power of YouTube, just through the power of social media. This wouldn't have been possible. That just shows you the wonders that it's doing all around the world. Is connecting people that may not have had the opportunity to meet. So if you've got a camera, put it to good use.
Yeah, I want to see that. I want to see people respond to this video, and just with whatever you feel inspired. And like I said, it can be dancing, it can be just sitting here awkwardly, and then just put it out there and see what happens. Because I think that's a great test. And one thing that you were saying that kind of triggered me, you were saying stress less. Now, coming with your psychological background, or psychology background, have you heard the saying, like, what you resist persist?
Yeah.
So how, if someone's like, okay, don't stress, to me that makes me think that they're going to stress more.
Right. Because resistance makes stronger. We have to realize that we have to allow judgments to flow through us. So we have to allow emotions to flow through us without judgment. Any emotion you feel, we don't have to condemn it, say, okay, this is a bad feeling, this is a good feeling. We have to essentially become neutral. So allowing emotions to flow through us without judgment. A lot of us, we say, I just want to think positive thoughts. But once you do that, you push away all these so-called negative thoughts, so resistance makes stronger. Now the negative thoughts, the stress is going to come twice, maybe even 10 times harder. So that's why you have to see it like this. In society, a lot of us, whether we like to admit it or not, a lot of people are drawn to the dark side. The dark side being the shadow side of people. That's why a lot of people, they want to see scary movies. They want to see the most absurd things. Even on YouTube, you have videos which they're the videos that a lot of people want to make, but they don't want to be seen as, oh, you did that video.
Yeah.
But those are the videos everyone wants to do. So a lot of the times it's just about not judging things as being good or bad, just allowing the experience to flow.
I think that's maybe speak large volumes about that with crying versus laughing.
Right.
That laughing is the most accepted emotion, it seems.
Right.
Everyone's laughing, they're having a great time. But however, most of the time when someone sees someone crying, like, oh, they need to help them.
Yes.
Where when I finally switched my perspective on that, and I look at someone crying, that it's actually even more powerful than laughing.
Right.
It's
Right.
like the sacred emotion that I think if you allow it to flow through you, that you can actually become more whole and more complete than you get from laughing. Just because laughing has been so acceptable for so long, that I would encourage people to experiment with crying. I encourage people. We also, our most recent video that it might be on the channel for a few weeks by the time we put this one up, but it was scream therapy / anger management. And our friend JP and Kawhi led us through an exercise where we released all the anger we could. And from an outsider perspective, a lot of people were disturbed by this. Like, whoa, what are these people doing? That's like gross. Why don't you just hold that back? Like, what's your opinion? Do you think anger is something to...
It's fantastic. And you see even athletes who really can get that aggression out. Anger is energy, and it's the raw fuel you need to take you to those greater heights. So a lot of the times, once you can really become angry, you really open up a lot of emotion, because emotion is the energy in motion. So once you suppress emotion, you become depressed. Depression is depression. You need to let every emotion out freely. And that's why I always talk about self-love. Love yourself 100%. The biggest problem with a lot of people is that they don't love themselves. As your self-expression increases, your self-love increases. That's the secret. That's why a lot of people who can really express themselves, they start attracting abundance in their lives immediately.
But isn't that scary? Because even me, here I am preaching about it, and I always want to walk the talk, so I do it when I can.
Right.
Not 100% of the time, but like for instance, me and the camera woman, sometimes I'm in an argument and I scream.
Right.
I've never done, and I think that actually, I don't think that I would ever hurt someone I love, but I do feel like it's a much safer way than suppressing it. I sometimes wonder, someone that suppresses anger for too long, that's where physical abuse comes from.
Right.
I don't know if you would agree with that. Or...
Right, it builds up. You see, everyone has a different way of expressing it, but we have to do what's most natural to us. So if we have an urge to scream or whatever, we have to release that energy. Everyone has a different threshold. More so, communication is key, and that's the biggest thing. A lot of time can be saved. A lot of arguments can be saved just by communicating right there and
right in the moment.
Right in the moment.
Let those little firecrackers out.
Don't bring it up a week later. Just
agree.
talk about it right now.
But it's so scary. It's scary, and I think I'm pretty good at facing my fears. So like, how someone is watching, like, I'm actually having a little bit of struggle. How would we encourage someone to do that? Where does the courage come from?
Fear. To overcome your fear, you have to face your fear. You have to do the thing you're most afraid of, and that's why life begins at the end of your comfort zone. It's not easy, it's initiation. And that's the hardest thing. If you're afraid of talking to a beautiful woman, you have to do it. And it's gonna feel uncomfortable, but the more you do it, you develop that confidence. If you're afraid to talk to someone that you've never met before, you have to do it. Throw yourself into the ocean, and then one day you'll learn how to swim.
I completely agree. I think really, as cliche and as old as the saying is, practice makes perfect. Because maybe we've subdued that for so long, living outside the comfort zone. Once you keep practicing it and keep those little 5 seconds of courage to just take the leap, whether if it's talking to a beautiful girl or talking to someone you don't want to, just do that first initiation and don't care about how the outcome will be. Just keep practicing that first initiation, and eventually I think the uncomfortable becomes fun comfortable. That you spend enough time outside your comfort zone, that's where you begin to thrive.
Oh yes.
And I think you begin to receive abundance, kind of how you were saying. So it's really encouraging for me just to hear someone else have such similar thoughts and practices, especially on the other side of the world. So
it's amazing to connect.
yeah. That reminds me of one before we cut this off. You were talking about that, how people express themselves on Facebook. They're so used to these impersonal forms of communication that you would rather just Skype.
Yes, because that's all part of the natural life, and I know you're into the free living lifestyle. That's where you let go of this game playing of, oh, I wonder what this person is like, because words often get lost in translation. And that's why Facebook is a great tool, but a lot of the time, if we're not careful, it can also create a lot of fake ideas of what people actually are. So just talking to them on Skype, you can let go of the illusion. Just go for it. Instead of just typing to this person for months and months, but you've never even spoken to them. You don't even know what their voice sounds like. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people begin to fall in love or fall in like with the idea of someone.
Right.
And I think that happens because of all these. I think that once again, these social media websites, we want to use them rather than being used by them. And that's one thing that I was telling him, that when someone's trying to get complete with whether it's a past resentment or it's an appreciation, some people have a harder time expressing appreciations and resentments, to do it face to face and at the very least Skype. Because I think most of what's said is not even with words.
Oh yes, that's so true.
It was,
Thank you so much.
Pleasure
Thank
connecting
you so
with
much.
you, man.
Raw Bra, fantastic channel, fantastic individual, and fantastic partner. Holding the camera, thank you.
Next time.
Welcome.
Yeah, so I think one of the take-home lessons here, there's many, but to let the little firecrackers out so to prevent a big explosion, especially with relationships. And he was saying that when something comes up, let it come out. Don't hold on to it. Don't express it a week later. If it's been a week, do it now. If it's been a year, do it now. But ideally, when it happens, express that there. Because you're saying that the happiest people are the most expressive.
Right. Express yourself. That's the gateway to self-love.
I love it. All right, peace.
Peace.
We're still going. We're still going.
We ask people, what do you do? Sometimes people ask me and I just say I breathe. Because a lot of the time when we're asking this question, we're not really interested. We just want to put someone into a box because it makes us feel better. But in essence, it only creates more separation.